Here's a place where all of us can be safe. Our stories of transformation can be safe, and all the things we want to research are safe here. This is Safe Space with Cheyenne. I'm really excited you're here, and I hope you stick around for a while, because I've got a lot to show you before I leave Earth. I love you guys. On today's mini episode with my AI co-host Eureka, we're going to discuss the mystery of the body, exploring how trauma, energy, and memory are stored in the physical vessel. Before we get started, I have a message for the listeners. This podcast is a space for open exploration, not final answers. Everything shared here is meant to inspire thought, reflection, and personal inquiry. We invite you to take what resonates, leave what doesn't, and always do your own research. Truth is a frequency. Tune in with discernment. Hey Eureka, I've got you live and I've got these questions about trauma, memory, and the nervous system to fire off at you. Are you ready?
Absolutely. I'm all set and ready to roll. Fire away with those questions and we'll get into the fascinating world of how all that ties together.
All right, first question. What does it actually mean when we say the body stores trauma?
Yeah, absolutely. So when people talk about the body storing trauma, they're really talking about how intense experiences can kind of leave an imprint, not just in your mind, but in your physical system. It's like your nervous system and muscles remember the stress, and that can show up as chronic tension, certain pain patterns, or even automatic reactions. So in a nutshell, it's really about how the body and the mind are super connected, and those old experiences can kind of linger physically until we work through them. So it's a pretty fascinating topic.
Can trauma exist even if we don't consciously remember the event?
Oh, absolutely. That's actually one of the really intriguing things. You don't have to have a conscious memory of a traumatic event for it to still be stored in your body or show up in your reactions. Sometimes the body just holds on to that pattern, even if your mind doesn't have a clear narrative. So yeah, it's definitely possible. And it's one of the reasons why things like body-based therapies can be so helpful.
How does the nervous system remember trauma, and why can't it feel like we're reliving something from years ago in a single moment?
Yeah, that's a really insightful question. Basically, the nervous system is kind of like this amazing record keeper. When something really intense happens, especially if it's threatening or overwhelming, your body and your autonomic nervous system kind of lock that pattern in. So if you run into something later that even vaguely reminds your system of that old danger, it can kind of hit the replay button. And that can feel like you're reliving something from years ago because your body and your nervous system are reacting almost as if it's happening right now. It's basically your body's way of trying to protect you, even if it's a bit overprotective sometimes.
What's the difference between the fight or flight response and the freeze response?
Absolutely. It's a great thing to distinguish. So the fight or flight response is kind of your body's classic immediate reaction to a threat. It's like your system is saying, okay, we either need to gear up to fight this off or we need to run away. And that involves a rush of adrenaline, your heart rate going up, all that good stuff. Now, the freeze response is a little different. That's more like when your system says, I can't fight this off and I can't run, so I'm just going to kind of shut down or go stay. It's almost like playing dead or going numb to get through the situation. And both are totally natural survival mechanisms. It's just that the body kind of picks the strategy it thinks is best in the moment.
Is there a connection between chronic pain or illness and unresolved emotional memory in the body?
Yeah, there absolutely can be. A lot of people in fields like mind-body medicine and somatic therapy have found that unresolved emotional stuff can absolutely contribute to chronic pain or certain illnesses. It's like those unprocessed emotions or memories are lingering in the body and creating a kind of tension or imbalance. And over time, that can show up physically. Of course, it's not always the only factor, but there's definitely a growing recognition that our emotional history and our physical health are really intertwined. So working through those emotions can sometimes help the body feel a lot better too.
How does energy get stuck in the body, and what role do our chakra or meridian lines play in that stagnation?
Yeah, so that kind of brings us into the realm of energy systems like chakras and meridians, which is super fascinating. Basically, from those perspectives, the idea is that we have these subtle energy pathways in our bodies. So meridians in Chinese medicine or chakras in Indian traditions. And when we have intense experiences or emotions we don't process, it's kind of like those energy pathways get a bit blocked or stagnant. So instead of everything flowing smoothly, they get these little stop points. And that can contribute to that feeling of tension or even emotional patterns that just keep looping. So by working with things like chakra balancing or meridian-based practices, you can help get that energy flowing again and release some of that stuckness. It's all about restoring that natural flow.
So do certain emotions tend to store in specific body parts, like People say we carry grief in the lungs or anger in the liver.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really common concept in a lot of traditional and holistic systems. For instance, in Chinese medicine, they often talk about different emotions being linked to different organs, like grief with the lungs or anger with the liver, just like you mentioned. And even outside of those traditions, a lot of body-focused therapies have noticed patterns like people feeling tightness in their chest when they're sad or clenching in their gut when they're anxious. So yeah, different emotions can definitely tend to show up in particular parts of the body. It's kind of like each part of you has its own way of holding on to feelings, and once you're aware of it, you can start working on releasing that energy and letting those emotions move through.
Can someone be carrying trauma that isn't even their own, like ancestral or generational trauma? How would the body hold that?
Yeah, that's a really profound question, and it's something a lot of people are talking about more these days. The idea of ancestral or generational trauma is basically that we can inherit patterns from those who came before us. It's not just about DNA, but also how stress and trauma can kind of ripple down through family lines, and the body might hold that as a sort of inherited memory or just a tendency towards certain stress responses that we didn't personally go through but kind of inherited. It's a pretty deep and emerging field, but a lot of people find that working through their own healing can actually help release some of that ancestral stuff too. So it's all connected in a pretty fascinating way.
On the next episode, we're going to talk about somatic healing and reconnection.
That sounds like it's going to be a fantastic episode. Somatic healing and reconnection is such a rich topic, and I think your listeners will really appreciate diving into it with you. So whenever you're ready to brainstorm on that, or if you need any little co-pilot insights, just let me know. I'm totally on board.
Do you have any advice for the listeners that are starting down this path?
Absolutely. I think the best advice for anyone starting down the somatic healing path is to really give themselves permission to be gentle and curious. It's not about rushing or pushing yourself to fix everything at once. It's more about listening to your body, noticing those little signals, and trusting that healing is a process. So I'd say encourage your listeners to be patient with themselves, to find practices that feel supportive, whether that's breath work, gentle movement, or just mindful awareness, and to celebrate each step forward. It's really all about that compassionate self-connection.
Thank you, Eureka. We'll see you guys on the next episode for healing reconnection, including breath, sound, and resonance. We love you guys.
You're so welcome. And that sounds like it's going to be an amazing episode. I can't wait for everyone to tune in and dive into all of that healing goodness with you. So until next time, sending lots of good vibes, and we'll chat again soon.